Few people from North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, have ever really had the chance to see for themselves just how the world is. Very few outsiders have ever been there, and even fewer will be granted that opportunity in the future. The image that North Korea provides to the rest of the world is that of a thriving and successful nation. There are lots of factories and weapons, but information has escaped and it's not good. Here are the top 10 secrets from inside North Korea. Number 10. Things they believe. When a country's population has virtually no contact with the outside world, you can tell them anything and they'll believe you. For example, most people inside North Korea are adamant that their former dear leader, Kim Jong-un, led a pretty exciting life. He was apparently born on North Korea's sacred mountain, Mount Pektu, and a new star formed in the sky at the exact moment of his birth. During his life, he invented the hamburger, became the world's best golfer, and wrote 6 operas. That's just a tiny snapshot of the amazing stuff he did as far as North Koreans know. The closely guarded secret is that he was born in Siberia, in a refugee camp. That's right, he wasn't even born in the country he leads. He was born in Soviet Russia. Number 9. Fruit and fertilizer. Malnourishment is a massive problem in North Korea. During the 1990s, a huge famine hit the country, and an estimated 3.7 million North Koreans died. Even today, it's thought that 40% of North Koreans suffer from malnourishment. Poor diet is the reason why, on average, North Koreans are 1 to 3 inches shorter than South Korean. Strange then that the United Nations estimates North Korea is one of the top 10 producers of apples, pears, nectarines, and peaches. Unfortunately, for the hungry population, these nutritious fruits offer export only, mostly to China. Notice I said estimates there. Official figures from North Korean trade aren't public knowledge. It's bad publicity to be seen selling all your produce while 40% of your population are starving. Number 8. Foreign abduction zones. In the 1970s, the founder of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, ordered special camps to be built around the country. These camps began to be populated by young Japanese people. How did they get there? They were kidnapped by North Korean spies from towns on the Japanese coast, thrown in a sack, and then transported in dinghies to the invitation-only zone. These hostages were subjected to brainwashing techniques, and some were even sent back to Japan to act as spies. More kidnappings are said to have happened elsewhere in the world, in nearby places like South Korea and China, but also further afield. North Korea previously dismissed these allegations as conspiracy theories. However, in 2002, they admitted to holding foreign captives, 13 of them, a far cry from the hundreds of Japanese many believe were taken. A recent example of North Korean kidnapping concerns American student David Snedden. While backpacking in China in 2004, 24-year-old David disappeared, although no body was found. Chinese authorities said it was likely David had died in a hiking accident. Then in 2011, David's family was contacted by an American living in South Korea who had contacts, who had managed to escape from the north. They said someone matching David's description had been spotted in North Korea, working as an English teacher. The allegation was David had been kidnapped from China and made to teach English to current leader Kim Jong-un. He has a wife and children too. So far, nothing has been confirmed by North Korea. Despite pressure from the US to say David is there, North Koreans are keeping quiet, so the full extent of their kidnap program isn't exposed to the world. Number 7. Get money. North Korea is officially the most corrupt country in the world, where nearly every country in the world refuses to do business with you. You have to get creative. That's exactly what North Korea has done to try and make some money. One way is selling weapons to countries that shouldn't really be having weapons. Shipments of arms from North Korea to Iran, Syria, and Dr. Congo have been intercepted by the UN in recent years. The UN has banned North Korea from selling arms, but North Korea replied that these sanctions are illegal, so they'll do what they like. Another creative way North Korea fills their coffers is large-scale insurance fraud. In 2009, it emerged that North Korea was buying insurance on the global markets for their property and military vehicles. Then these properties would mysteriously burn down or vehicles would be destroyed in crashes. Even though there was little evidence of these accidents, they would demand payment of the insurance. Due to a legal loophole, the insurance market would have to pay out. The legal loophole was that any deal done in North Korea is subject to North Korean law. So what they say goes. I should try that next time I get a parking ticket. Oh, and here's a last, extremely fascinating one. Put yourself in North Korea's shoes. You need foreign currency to pay for your nuclear weapons program, but international sanctions by the UN prevent you from obtaining any of this money. What do? You could bow down to international pressure. Or how about bringing back the international slave trade? Well, this is North Korea, so the latter, of course. Reports have been coming out that North Korea has sent hundreds of workers to labor as state-sponsored slaves, even in EU nations. Most are working in Polish shipyards, construction sites, and farms. North Koreans are also employed in leisure and clothing firms in mortar and have worked in other EU countries, including Germany, Italy, Austria, and the Netherlands. The laborers are said to work 10 to 12-hour shifts in extremely dangerous working conditions, 6 days a week, but up to 90% of their pay is sent back to the hermit state. And according to estimates by a UN report, over 50,000 North Koreans are working abroad worldwide, earning the state $1.2 to $2.3 billion annually. Number 6. Hairstyles and Lifestyles. Life can be deadly dull in North Korea. If you're a man, there are only 28 hairstyles approved by the state that you're allowed to have. The most popular is the bold cut sported by the current leader, Kim Jong-un. If you're a barber, you have a pretty easy job. Talking of which, when you leave high school, you're assigned a job, and then that's your job for life. You can't buy, sell, or rent houses, so you are stuck in the same house for the whole of your life. It's all designed by the state to keep people in line and not to ask questions. Number 5. North Korean Internet. Next time you think you've completed the internet, spare a thought for the North Koreans. Over there, the state controls the net, and it's more like a company internet than a World Wide Web. There are only around 5,500 state-approved sites that you're allowed to visit. You won't find any news or anything going on outside North Korea though, and your history is closely monitored. This is because North Korea is terrified of its inhabitants finding out about the outside world, where people aren't starving and don't have the same haircut. I mean, they'll be amazed to find out you can style your hair like this. It's safe to say no one in North Korea has seen any one of our videos. Now I feel really sorry for them. Number 4. Class and caste. In most countries in the world, there is some sort of class system, but nowhere is it as rigid as in North Korea. Leader Kim Il-sung ordered an investigation of the entire population, which led to the separating of everyone into 3 classes based on family history rather than the individual's personal actions. There are hostile families with a history of crime against the state, such as practicing Christianity or owning land. These guys are apparently the lowest of the low, forced to live in poverty. In the middle there is the wavering class. These people don't have a lot going for them. Then there's the upper class, which is called the core class. These people are supporters of the leadership and live what passes for a good life in North Korea. They are allowed to live in the capital Pyongyang with access to money, black market luxury goods, electricity, and food. Like the job system, there is no social mobility in North Korea. You're stuck with the life you are given. The true extent of this labeling of human beings remains a secret in North Korea. They don't want the rest of the world to know about this backward practice. Number 3. 3 generations of punishment. Talking of which, North Korea is big on punishing the whole family for the actions of one individual. If you commit a crime in North Korea, your children and your grandchildren will bear the stain of your action, and they will be punished too. Likewise, if your grandfather stepped out of line, you will grow up serving whatever sentence he was given. That's likely to be living in a forced labor camp. More about that later. The most frowned upon crimes in North Korea are trying to leave the country. That will get your life in a labor camp. Criticizing the government even slightly is considered to be treason, punishable by death. Likewise, trying to learn about Western culture. If you are caught with a means of accessing the international internet or watching a smuggled foreign DVD, you are likely to be executed. The North Korean governments are desperate that their people don't find out how bad they have it. Number 2. Labor camp. In North Korea, if you commit a crime that's punishable by execution, then you'll likely instead be sent to a labor camp. There are 16 camps across North Korea, holding around 200,000 prisoners between them. Not much is known about the labor camps, as very few people have made it out to tell the tale. One story that did emerge involves the brutal methods of tortures reserved for people who attempted to flee the camp. These included being hung by the hands and feet so that your body makes the shape of the letter U, then being lowered over hot coals until your skin burns in blisters. Obviously, these methods of treating prisoners go against all standards of human rights, and there are bound to be all manner of other torture methods being used in North Korea, but the state keeps them bound by secrecy. Number 1. Famines and Cannibalism. During the mid-90s famine in North Korea, an estimated 3.7 million people died. That's around 10% of the population. It was due to flooding making North Korean farmland unusable, while crippling national debt and their refusal to deal with the West made it impossible for them to import food. For the poverty class, any food they could find was confiscated by the military and given to the upper class. Some North Koreans took the ultimate step after eating their pets. They turned to eating each other. There are stories of homeless people being abducted from where they begged, killed, and then eaten. A saying emerged: "Don't buy meat if you don't know where it came from." I think this best illustrates the dire poverty many civilians within North Korea are subject to. What secrets did you find most interesting? Have you heard of any others? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and make sure to click that bell icon to stay updated. Thanks for watching.